Imagine it's 1944. Delegates from 44 allied nations have gathered in Bretton Woods to rebuild the global financial system. Britain, the financial superpower of the previous 2 centuries, is effectively bankrupt. Its national debt has reached 249% of GDP, and after 2 world wars, its ability to lead the global economy is gone. Everyone in that room understands what must happen. Global reserve currency status must shift from the British pound to the US dollar. This decision continues a pattern that has repeated for over 5 centuries. Every major reserve currency rises, peaks, becomes overextended, and eventually declines. The first of these cycles began in the 1450s with Portugal. The Portuguese real became the world's first broadly used reserve currency. Portugal had revolutionized navigation after the fall of Constantinople in 1453 by discovering sea routes around Africa to Asia. Lisbon became a global trade center, and Portuguese coins circulated widely. But maintaining outposts across multiple continents proved too costly. Political instability and competition from Spain, the Dutch, and the British weakened Portugal, and in 1580 it was absorbed into Spain. Its currency's dominance ended after a roughly 80 years. Spain replaced Portugal as the global financial power. After discovering vast silver deposits at Potosi in 1545, Spain minted the Spanish dollar, pieces of 8, the world's first truly global currency. It remained dominant for about 110 years. But Spain repeated the same pattern of overreach: endless wars, soaring debt, multiple defaults, and inflation caused by huge silver inflows. When silver output declined, Spain's financial system broke down and its dominance ended. Next came the Dutch Republic. In the 1600s, Amsterdam became the world's financial hub. The Dutch guilder dominated global trade for nearly 80 years. The Dutch created the first stock exchange, modern banking, and pioneering financial tools that transformed international commerce. But like the powers before it, the Dutch overextended themselves, especially during wars with Britain. Debts piled up, and by the late 1700s, Dutch influence faded. Then Britain rose to the top. Supported by the Industrial Revolution, a vast colonial empire, and the gold standard, the British pound became the dominant global currency from the early 1700s to 1944, over 200 years. At its height, Britain controlled 1/5 of the world's population and 1/4 of the world's land. But 2 world wars destroyed Britain's finances. By 1945, enormous debts forced the transition to the US dollar. At Bretton Woods, the world officially adopted the US dollar as the reserve currency, pegged to gold at $35 an ounce. Even after the gold standard ended in 1971, the petrodollar system kept global demand for dollars high. The dollar reached its peak influence around 2000, when over 70% of global reserves were held in dollars. But the pattern is repeating. In 2024, dollar share had fallen to 57.8%. Foreign buyers now hold only 30% of U.S. Treasuries, down from over 50% in 2008. BRICS nations are building payment systems that bypass the dollar, and the U.S. carries a debt of 124% of GDP. History shows reserve currencies last around 95 years. The dollar is now 81 years into its cycle. The same signs that ended Portugal, Spain, the Netherlands, and Britain are appearing again. The only question is how fast the transition will occur and what system will replace the dollar. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who's curious about how money, power, and history always seem to move in cycles.